Aita for refusing to split rent with my boyfriend? I, F23, have been dating my boyfriend Jake, M23, since our freshman year of college. In our last year of undergrad, we decided to rent an apartment together. We split everything 50-50, including utilities, groceries, and rent. We continued living together in the same town as our college after graduation, but recently, we both got jobs in Chicago and we are currently living downtown. My dad works in real estate and he has multiple investment properties. My dad generously allowed me to live in one of his properties rent-free, but he said that my boyfriend would have to pay him $400 a month for rent. My dad is very protective, but he has been nothing but kind to my boyfriend. My dad's reasoning for making my boyfriend pay rent is that he wants to be sure that my boyfriend is with me for me and not because he will have a free place to live. Keep in mind, if my dad was renting this apartment out to tenants, he would charge $2,100 a month for rent. Very ritzy building in the middle of downtown Chicago. My boyfriend is mad at me because he asked me for my half of the $400 for rent and I explained to him that I will not be paying rent. My dad is only charging him. He says that we have been splitting rent for the past 2 years, so why would we stop now? Our rent in our college town was $1,200, so we were both paying $600 a month. Our apartment in Chicago is significantly nicer and he is paying $200 less a month than what he was in college. Is the idea that my dad doesn't charge me for rent but charges my boyfriend so crazy? Should I suck it up and pay half because I can afford it? Edit. Jake and I still split utilities and groceries 50-50, and when we go out on date nights, we switch off who pays for it. If he pays 1 week, I'll pay the next. NTA. Rent isn't $400, it's $2,100. Point out that if he wants to split rent, then do so by having your dad charge the full amount, which means his portion is $1,050. Pay your dad that and dad can give it back to you or put it in escrow to save for a future house. The $400 is a major discount for him and dad lets you have it for free. Edit. Thank you all for the awards. Much appreciated. NTA. A nice ritzy building check. Located in downtown check. Only $400 month double check. Near your jobs check. Getting the family discount from GF's dad check. What more does your BF want? Clearly he's not seeing the bigger picture. He's getting a lot of perks because of you, and he only has to pay a fraction of the rent. Doesn't he realize that millions don't have that luxury in these critical times of the economy? Plus he's failing miserably with your dad's test. Your dad's suspicions are kinda right. I think your dad just showed a lot of who Jake is. Explain that rent is $2,100 a month and he is expected to pay $400. You are paying $1,700, but you are receiving support from your family to do so. If he would like to split rent, he is welcome to pay $1,050. Your boyfriend is either 1. Greedy and disingenuous, or 2. Stupid. Either way, it's not attractive. NTA. Your boyfriend needs to understand that it's not that you aren't paying rent. Just that your dad is paying your share. Put him in your shoes. If his parents covered his rent, would he be obligated to also cover half of your half? Aita for filing a report against my coworker after I found him looking through my purse. There's this coworker Martin 31M who always forgets where he leaves his stuff. He always forgets his phone charger at home and borrows mine to use. I don't mind lending him my charger. He's a nice person and I love maintaining a good relationship with my coworkers. Especially male coworkers. The other day, I was in the restroom then, when I walked back into the office, I saw Martin with both hands inside my purse literally looking through it. I was shocked. I have highly personal stuff that I carry in my purse. I freaked out and snatched my purse out of his hands asking what he was doing. He got nervous and said he was looking for my charger. I asked why he thought it was okay for him to look through my purse, and he said that, since I always lend him my charger, then he thought I wouldn't mind if he looked for it in my purse when he couldn't ask me because I was out of the office and he needed it right then. I told him he violated my privacy and disrespected my boundaries. I went and filed a report with the company's headquarters after telling them what happened. They said it was unacceptable and promised to deal with it. Martin got in trouble for this, and he and my coworkers were pissed, saying I overreacted and went way overboard by reporting this situation. My female coworker told me to get over myself and stop crying victim over a simple misunderstanding. I felt very guilty after this. Now I think I might have blown this out of proportion and overeated. Hold the fuck up. I've been married as long as Martin has existed. No way in hell am I going into my wife's purse. If I need something, I bring her the purse. I don't care if she tells me to go ahead and get something out of her purse. It seems like a respect thing. Her purse is her personal space. Interesting enough, I tell her to get cash out of my wallet and she brings me my wallet. I would expect to be fired if I was caught red-handed in a coworker's purse. Male or female, I would expect to be walked off the property. My husband hates going in my purse when I ask him to, though he will, because of the pure chaos I brew in there. I imagine a lot of guys nope out like you do, especially when they are the chaos mine is. NTA. Martin could have waited 5 minutes. No one should be going through your personal belongings. I know it probably doesn't help if your coworkers are all on Martin's side, but you are in the right. Yeah, NTA. It seems a bit ridiculous that people would not understand, as if they never had their privacy violated before or seen samples of it. It doesn't have to be egregious. I doubt anyone would start looking, though, people cupboards and drawers while visiting someone else's home. Sounds more like the co-workers were just using the situation for social points rather than any moral position. I am pretty sure they have lines as well, and it's not inconceivable to anyone was not self-centered that a purse which houses typically personal information, personal items, credit cards, etc. would be off limits to others without permission. I personally feel uncomfortable going into purses even if my so asked me to. If they still don't feel that way, ask them if they would be okay if you slipped under the bathroom stalls to have a conversation with them while they poop. I mean, get over yourself, everyone poops, right? Note: don't actually do this to someone. NTA. Martin needs to learn personal boundaries. Everybody else at your work does too. I've never worked at a place where people would consider it appropriate to go through other people's personal property like that. If a male employee went through a female employee's purse at my current place of business, the reason why wouldn't matter. He would be, rightly, ostracized for it. That's the behavior of thieves and perverts. That's also why the company is backing you on the matter. What he did is just not acceptable. NTA. Since you overreacted, I would just start going through my coworkers' purses and see if they feel like it's no big deal then. What is going on in the world that adults think they have the right to plunder through other people's belongings and then play victim when they are punished for it? Also, if Martin forgets his charger every day, at some point you have to say no and make him buy his own or bring one from home. He is not forgetting, he is counting on you to take care of it for him. Aita for canceling my credit card after my boyfriend refused to return it to me. I'll preface by saying that me, 27, and my boyfriend, 30, have been together for 3 years and a half. I've been jumping from one job to another while he has been unemployed due to health issues that affected his performance at work. Usually, I'm the one handling rent, bills, groceries, etc. I use my credit card to make any purchase I want. Last week, my boyfriend out of nowhere asked for my credit card. I asked why, since I'm the one who handles payments and supermarket trips. He told me he wanted to buy some food, and I agreed to let him take it, but told him to return it later. He got back later, and when I asked about my credit card, he was like, "What credit card?" I thought he was joking, so I told him to just give it back. He said he'd just keep it with him. I asked why, and he said, so he could start handling paying for stuff on my behalf. I felt uncomfortable. I said I'd rather not burden him with this stuff and asked him to hand over the credit card. He refused and said that he'll just keep it since it doesn't have that much money anyway. I was livid. I tried to argue, but he told me to just trust him and let him keep it and swore he won't spend a penny from it. Next morning I went and cancelled it, then registered a new one. He must have had tried to use it because he called and was confused, asking why the credit card was not valid anymore. I told him it's because I cancelled it and registered a new one. He lost it and started scolding me, saying he couldn't believe I had this level of petty, and kept on about how I don't trust him with my finances. And how financially abusive I have become lately. I hung up on him. The argument continued at home, and he called me paranoid and unreasonable and all that. Then he started cold shouldering me and sulking about it for days. I do feel like I hurt his feelings and showed an amount of distrust towards him. Aita for canceling the credit card? Edit adding in some info. 1. Like I said, he has a physical disability that limits his opportunities for work. He receives no disability benefits because he doesn't want to. He refuses to acknowledge he has a disability and pretends that it doesn't exist at all. 2. When I tell him to look for a job, he'd blame people for purposely refusing to employ him and say that they look down on him like he's lacking or beneath them. 3. He comes from a humble background. No longer has contact with family due to abandonment issues, but has some friends to lean on. 4. Since someone asked, the answer is I do almost 80% of chores while he does the other 20%. Reasons for that is his disability. 5. Finally, I pay for rent, bills, groceries, his meds and transportation as well, so I needed the card to he constantly with me. NTA. He swore he won't spend a penny from it, followed by the next day he must have had tried to use it. Your instincts were excellent, as was your decisive and immediate action. You know what he wanted was wrong. Trust yourself. NTA. Trust? He has no business mentioning trust after literally stealing your credit card and trying to use it. That, my friend, is a guilt trip. He is making this all about you harming him by not trusting him. When you busted him literally doing something he swore he wouldn't do. He even ratted himself out, which he didn't have to do, which means it was not a fluke, but rather he intended on spending more than you expected on your card, and probably quite often. NTA.